and then we'll go to questions.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for being here, guys. I didn't want to do this last night until we kind of knew who we were playing. And obviously the NIT is a little bit later show than the NCAA. I think it's important. It was important to me when our team got back together on Friday for practice, that they understood that I wasn't disappointed in them. I was really disappointed for them and our fans. I think maybe after the loss, you blow a little bit, and I felt like they probably felt like I was disappointed in them, and I wasn't. I was disappointed for them because I think our players have given us everything this year, to us and our fans, and more. And I'm proud of them. And they're just a really good group of guys, and I love coaching them. And like I said in my statement last night, I really believe they've reinvigorated our fan base, and I think people are excited. We're excited about our team. Now I can understand one loss in March Madness. March Madness can be exhilarating and it can be cruel, and the perfect example is our loss to Boston College and, Virginia Tech running through the tournament and winning the tournament. It's March Madness or March Sadness. And, we understood all those things, going into the tournament. We knew how important the ACC tournament was, and we know how important it was for our fans and for us to win it. We felt like we had a good shot to win it. And we knew how important it was for ramifications later on when it came to, playing in the ACC or the NCAA tournament. And so, we knew all those things. And, I knew at the beginning of the season, guys, that we were going to have to win a lot of games to get in the tournament and the right games. Okay. I mean, first thing was I knew we couldn't have any bad losses in the non-conference. Right. And we did it. We took advantage of that. And I knew once we got into league play, we'd have to take advantage of all the quad 1, quad 2 opportunities that we had. Now, I'll tell you this. I never imagined that winning 10 non-league games, being 10-1 and no bad losses, and then winning 13 ACC games would not be enough to get in the tourney. And I'll tell you why. Because if you base it on last year's, just go back last year to the ACC net rankings and base it on our schedule, we would have had 6 quad 1 wins just based on last year's net. Okay. You can't, I based our opportunities for quad 1 wins this year on our conference schedule. And if you go back the last 3 years in the ACC, just based it on what we finished on the net, where we finished in the net rankings on Selection Sunday, we would have had 10 quad 1 opportunities. We would have had 10 quad 1 opportunities the year before, and we'd had 10, and 12 based on the last 3 years. And we only got 4. Okay. That's where we got caught in the tournament this year was we didn't have enough quad 1 wins. Okay. But if you look, and a lot of it was because we won some games, obviously, that were typically quad 1 wins that were not in our league, and that cost us. And so that doesn't surprise me, when as you start to look at how do you put teams in and out of the tournament, they're going to look at whatever they want to look at, and obviously for us, it was the lack of, quad 1 wins. It was a long 4 days. I ain't gonna lie to you, heading up to Selection Sunday. It was tough on everyone in our program, to watch our NCAA tournament hopes kind of dreams kind of slip away. But we did practice Friday, Saturday. So sure we will today at 3:00. We're honored, to be the number 2 seed in the tournament, and we're excited to play against Towson, a really good Towson team, on Wednesday at 7. One of the things that kept us probably in the conversation was our improvement in the net and our improvement in Ken Palm. And, I looked it up last night. We were 189 last year in the net. We were 48 this year. That was a plus 141. Ken Palm, we were 175 last year. We're 37 this year, plus 138. And then our offensive efficiency went from 191 in the country to 34. and our defensive efficiency went from 169 to 58. So I think those things kept us in the conversation because we did have a good basketball team. It just came down to resume. I haven't had a chance to really watch Towson a whole lot. I know that they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. They shoot the three real well. They won 16 of their last 19 games, I believe. And, one of their all-conference player got hurt in the tournament. He'll be back to play. Or I think maybe they would have won the tournament. And, Pat does a really good job. I've known him a long time. His teams play really hard. They're physical. And so it'll be a definite a challenge on Wednesday. And listen, anytime you get in a tournament at this time of year that says with an N in front of it, NCAA or NIT, you're going to play good teams because there's only 32 teams in this tournament. It's hard to get into. And the teams that are in it are the majority of them were teams that should have won their league or were on the bubble. And so we're looking forward to playing. And with that, questions.
Steve, how do you get the guys kind of fired up and kind of turned around because they had put all the eggs in one basket, so to speak, and with the NCAA, is that maybe the hardest thing you've had to do as a coach?
I don't think it's the hardest thing I've had to do as a coach. I don't think anything will ever compare to what we went through when I got the job. And I think we need to be mindful of that as where we're at today. Not for me, but the program. No, I tell you what, we lost on Wednesday. And so we got back, like I said, we took Thursday off, and then we got back in the gym, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had a chance to talk to them every day about it, and I could see it coming, and I didn't kill their hopes. We got together last night for the selection show in the film room, and it was quiet, but I told them what seeds to be looking at, 11s and the 12s, and I was very honest, but yet very upbeat. And yeah, sure, they're disappointed. Don't get me wrong. And they should be, but they'll be excited to play. Isaiah Mucius was in here today talking to me. He's the heartbeat of our team. He's ready to go. We'll be ready to play. And we've had time. It's not like, we got beat on Saturday. Like Buzz Williams, Buzz and I are good friends, coached together on the same staff at A&M. I'm sure that's hard. They just played in a conference championship and got beat, made a heck of a run, and then they leave the floor, go watch the show, and they're not in. That's deflating, I'm sure. It looked like to me, had Virginia Tech not beat Duke, they weren't going to be in. Honest truth. The number 2 team in our league, Notre Dame, was the last team in. Looks like to me, or close. I don't know. Looked very close. So, yeah, I think we've got that covered, John. I think we'll be fine.
And does it help to have an older team like that to kind of just put it behind them and start and go play and win a tournament?
It can be. It can also be hurtful. I mean, because this is their last. Maybe they feel like this is their last chance. So they're just, there were some tears being shed a little bit in there from older guys. And I understood that, sometimes these tournaments a little bit for the younger guys or maybe the upstarts. Like I can tell you this, I've been in it a couple times and had really good experience. My first time was at Louisiana Tech and we went 14-4 in the WAC and we didn't get in. We won 20 some games, just kind of like this year. But you know what we did? We played Louisiana Lafayette. We beat them. Vanderbilt came in there and we beat them. And then they sent us to Philadelphia to play a first-year head coach by the name of Jay Wright. And we lost right at the buzzer. It was a heck of an experience. My first year at A&M is kind of like this year, okay? We hadn't won anything in a long time. We had the largest turnaround in college basketball that year. We went 8-8 in the Big 12, and we got in and we sold out the arena twice. We played Clemson at home and beat them. We went to DePaul and won. And we came home and played St. Joe's to go to New York City. And a massive offensive showdown. I think we got beat 36-35 or something like that. That was a year right after Martelli had taken them to the final or went undefeated or something. It was crazy. So, we got to treat it like that and just be excited to play. And the teams that are excited to play are the teams that win, because they're all pretty good teams in this deal.
Steve, given how much of an outlier the ACC's numbers were this year, is it, maybe this is too forward thinking right now, but is the non-conference schedule going to look pretty similar next year?
No. It can't. And I knew that. Listen, you guys know where we're coming from. I don't have to tell you, what. And I didn't know we were good till August, right? We had 8 weeks of the summer. Schedule was long done before that. I think it's a fine line, though. I mean, I think, as you just heard me say, I came here, with intentions of getting 10 to 12 quad one opportunities a year in the league, and we got 4. Is that an outlier? I mean, how do you predict that? I don't know. But no, the one thing I am still struggling with a little bit in schedules, I've inherited some contracts that I can't get out. I'm trying to get out, not the Xavier game, but some other ones that were bye games that, there's an MTE lurking out there. I've pushed off as long as I can. It's not a good one, but I don't know what else I can do, and so there's some things we're going to do, but we do have, no question, we've got to do our best to upgrade the schedule. I think the best way to do it, for maybe to have a chance at some quad one wins, is to try to play neutral, because then it's 50, top 50, right? It's hard to get a top 30 team to come in here non-conference, right? And we don't get to pick the Big Ten game. It's kind of a like opponent deal. Like, I thought Northwestern, they were pretty good when they came in. You guys saw them play. And I think that's part of the problem with scheduling. Jim Larinaga and I had a long conversation last night. He called me. He's very upset, that the Big Ten got 9 and we get 5. And, I like Jim a lot. And that some of it too is when you play a team, and it's like, for instance, when we played Florida State at home and beat them by 22, they had their entire team. They're 42 in the net or something like that. When we lost to Louisville at Louisville, they were like 50s. I mean, they were 4-1 in the ACC, still had their coach, and then they all of a sudden, and at the end, they become a quad 3 loss. It's just that part of it's hard too, is when you play them. And so I don't know. It's a science to it. It's something that we've been doing for a long time, and we'll get advice, outside advice, from the league, from some scheduling experts. We'll figure it out. But I do not. It will not be like it was this year at all, for sure. And but then, not to repeat myself, but how do I don't really know how to predict how many we're going to get in the league. That's the problem. I know our schedule, but how do you know how those teams are going to be? I don't know. And that's the fine line. Or you just load up, and go, hey, we're going to get 17, 16 quad one chances, and let's go. And maybe that's the way to do it. Probably is.
Yeah, along the lines of predicting, are you any closer to knowing about the futures of Dallas, Davian, and Isaiah?
Getting closer. I had a couple preliminary conversations with all 3 of them. Again, I was kind of waiting for the season to be over, but we're in postseason play now. Timing is important, right? And so I'll know something here pretty soon. I will say this in general, that there are 3 seniors, so I would fully expect them, no matter what, to put their name in the NBA draft to see where they're at. Okay, I don't coming back or leaving. I would expect that. The question will be the area that we have to have the discussion is, if that doesn't happen, are you going to go explore overseas options, or do you want to come back? And my opinion is, if they want to explore overseas options, then I got to keep recruiting. All right. And so that's, to me, is one of the important things that we'll talk about and make those decisions on here pretty soon.
Steve, in terms of the schedule, and it seems like you kind of touched on it, is there a fear of potentially overreacting and loading up too much in the non-conference? And then how much of a role does Director of Basketball Operations Frank Davis play in this, and how much are you kind of like more hands-on about this?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we just got done talking about it. Is that you can't that was my whole point about saying typically this is how many quad one opportunities we get in the ACC, and I just went back 3 years, and it was 10, 10, 12, right? And we got 4 this year. Okay, so yeah, there's a fine line with that, right? But the other side of it is too, I think with your bye games, you can't play the bottom teams in those leagues, but you also got to be careful. You got to be aware of who the transfers are. And look at us. We were considered to be 13 in our league, and we finished 5th. So it's a hard thing to kind of to predict too in scheduling, is that you don't know where to, like, you may schedule what you think is a top team, like, okay, Oregon State. I thought they're coming off the Elite 8. I thought they had like 4 starters back or 3, I don't remember. But I'm thinking, well, that's got a chance to be on a neutral site, a quad 1, maybe 50, but definitely quad 2, and they didn't have a very good year. But that they didn't predict that way, right? The analytics said they were going to be pretty good. So, scheduling is a collaborative deal. Like Frank makes a lot of the legwork calls. Lindsey Babcock's involved in it. Administratively, I'm obviously hands-on. Brooke Savage and Matt Woodley are involved in it because we all have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience in it. We just met on it here a little bit ago. So it's a collaborative effort. I don't do all the calling, and who wants to play and all that. Those guys, Frank does the majority of that. And then we talk about it when, something is worth talking about. And so that's kind of how we do it. Sometimes it happens quicker than, I know sometimes fans like, oh, when's the schedule going to be released? It depends on a lot of factors, and so I think we'll probably go a little bit slower, this year. And I know East Tennessee State's different than here. I never finished my schedule there till September because I couldn't get games, honestly. And so, yeah, I had to wait, and we're gonna work with an outside consulting firm that we trust and know, and so we'll wrap our arms around it and we'll do what's always. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're always gonna do what's best for Wake Forest, and that's I think that's what we got to keep in mind. What's best for us in our program.
Steve, I know that you're focused completely on Wake Forest, right? But in the macro sense, a 13-7 5th place team in the ACC, that should be a tournament team 99 times out of 100, right? So how do you address the larger issues about ACC perception when you have all this transfer portal stuff that's not going away, and there's a little bit of change over the guard, I guess, at the higher levels of the ACC in terms of coaching changes? How do you address that to where a 13-7 team does make the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I don't think the coaching changes have anything to do with it. Coach K, Coach Williams, Coach Bay, those guys could say all they want to say, but, the numbers are the numbers. And obviously they did. I mean, Coach K gave us a ton of compliments in the media. Coach Larinaga did. Coach Young did. They all did. Jay Billis did. I don't think that's, I'm not sure how much of a factor that stuff really is. I think we do have to address scheduling. And I think that's what, Jim Larinaga and I were talking about. And what he said to me was very simply that we need to address this in May at our in our conference meetings, which will be for the first time since I've been the head coach face to face. They've always just been Zoom since I've been the head coach. And so I do think that's a perception issue, yes, as far as how we schedule. And then maybe, who is the voice of our league? Who's out there beating the drum? Fran Fischello beats the drum for the Big 12. Sean Farnham beats the drum for the Pac-12. Who beats the drum for us? I couldn't tell you. I think Jay does, but I think Jay's very busy with a lot of other things. So, we'll figure those things out, as we move forward. And we have to be proactive and not reactive, and I think that's something that Coach K's always talked about. I've heard him say it, not being reactive to what happened, but being proactive. And maybe right now we're being a little too, we're being reactive, and we got to get ahead of the game. And so we got to get that figured out so this doesn't happen where the Big Ten's got 9 and we've got 5, you know. And here's the crazy thing too, is the Big 12 was considered the best league. I thought everybody's saying the Big 12 was the best league in the country, and they got 6. I don't know. I mean, I do have an issue, and I always have, with teams that are sub 500 in a round robin league. You know, I don't see how, you know, I think you should at least be 500, but I'm not complaining. I know, listen, I don't disparage anybody that got in, because I know how damn hard it is to get in. Okay. And I understand that I don't disparage anybody from getting in, man, because it's a hard thing. And this is my first experience on the bubble. I don't want to go through that again. And, you know, that's what I was alluding to. You know, I don't know how people perceived it, but that's what I was alluding to when, or, you know, the last couple of weeks of the season was, guys, we need to win enough so we don't have to go in there and have a devastating loss like it was against Boston College. Okay. But we couldn't get to that point. Right. I mean, even if we'd have beat Clemson on the road, we beat Miami at home, that'd have been 15-5. Okay. We still couldn't afford to lose to Boston College, I don't believe in. And from what I understand, and I've got some friends high up, you know, talking to them last night, we beat Boston College and we beat Miami. I'm not 100% telling you that we were in. I'm not so sure we didn't have to beat Duke. And so sometimes perception and reality don't match up, you know, and that's the problem. You know, you heard me talk about it, listen to bracketology, because they are not in the room. Okay. Now, maybe some of them got a pipeline. I don't know. You know, I don't know. But the reality of it was, looking at the way it shook out, we were in the conversation, but were we as deep in the conversation as we thought we were? And that's why I try not to pay attention to that. And I'll give you an example. After we beat NC State on Thursday morning, we were 35 in the net. Okay. And we were firmly in the field. We weren't in the last 4 out. We weren't in the last 4 buys. On Tuesday, a week later, on Tuesday morning, we woke up to play, or Wednesday morning, when we woke up to play Boston College. We hadn't played a game, and we were the last 4 out. I mean, we hadn't even played a game. And so it's like, it's hard to know what's truth and what's reality. I mean, what's truth and what's not, you know? And so I don't want to be in that position. You know, I like to be good enough to say, okay, let's go in here and win the tournament. Let's win the ACC tournament. But let's also be in a situation where, you know, we don't have to be worried about if we drop a game. I've been in those situations before, you know, and that's not a disrespect to the ACC tournament, because I know how important those things are to people. Come on, man. I mean, I had people coming up to me in Johnson City, Tennessee, wanting to know if they could get their hotels till Monday. That was the first thing they asked me when I got the job. I understood. You know what I mean? I've been in the Big 12 tournament at Kemper in Dallas. I've been in the SEC tournament all over the Southeast. You know, I've been in the Valley tournament is incredible. You know, the Arch Madness. The year we were 35-1, we had 10,000 people there from Wichita State. 10,000. I mean, I know how passionate fans are about the tournament. I get it. Now, you know, playing in Brooklyn didn't feel like playing in Greensboro, I can tell you that. But I understand, you know, and I get it. And I know the passion. I know how people feel about, hey, let's get up here and win it. It's been a while for us. I get it. And so we'll keep trying to we'll keep doing better. And we'll be ready to play.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Looks like that's all.
See you on Wednesday at
Thank
7
you.
All right. Thanks.